Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind. Let's see what happens.
Are you okay?
Yeah, my emotions are like all over. My heart is like, I have been feeling like I've had to puke this whole morning. I know we had such a great.
So I haven't shown all the times that she has said that phrase, and I wonder what's going on. It's not a typical phrase in my cultural pocket. I mean, certainly if I heard that, I would understand what they're getting at, but to hear it so frequently, it's not a phrase that you would say lightly. It's not a phrase that you would say that often figuratively. And, maybe she just has that quirk. Some people, when they are having a lot of emotion, their foot twitches or something. There's a lot of different non-standard presentations and experiences. There's a lot of variability to human experience. So, maybe that is, but it just makes me wonder if there is some kind of familiarity or, I don't know. Well, let's briefly walk through this possibility. If someone had some kind of eating issue or purging issue or body image issue or all the above, and they engaged in a lot of purging, and or in their families, like her mother also did this sort of thing, which isn't uncommon, then there could be even a culture of expressing this openly because it's their lifestyle, if you will. They're used to it. There's a lot of ways of dealing with eating issues and eating disorders, feeding disorders. Some people are terribly ashamed of it and they never talk about it at all and they steer everything away from it. Other people can. I think it's more rare, in my experience anyway, where you will see the opposite, where there's almost like a leaning into it. You're dealing with the shame and the uncertainty and the pain, and you have options of pushing it underground, or you might just say, well, if I just convince myself that this is normal, then it's easier for me to deal with. So there could be some element of that. And then for some people, it will create this very quick response of vomiting because their body is habituated to doing that, maybe even under certain emotional situations, right? Because that's how they might deal with emotions. And then you put all that together, then you have someone that not only has the urge, that's how they know that they're feeling things. And for some people, that might be one of the only ways that they know that they're feeling things because of the traumas that they went through and or mistreatment they went through. They are disconnected from their emotions and their needs, and they don't notice them until it rises to that impulse or that behavior or that compulsion or that physical sensation. And so a lot of things get processed through that experience. And then again, if you have that leaning into it, and if it was modeled to you, you might start saying that phrase. That is a huge stretch based on one phrase that she says frequently. But, this is a psychology channel, so I'll throw that out there.
Oh my gosh. I will 1,000% marry you.
Let's go!
Okay, so we'll see how they do together. Often in this phase, I'm thinking, well, there's no reason to believe that things won't go relatively well. And then I would say about half the time, it becomes a disaster. So I don't know which one it'll be. Given their start, I think for Chelsea, there hasn't been any indication. Well, I will say that I don't know if I've shown these scenes where Chelsea has indicated that, well, I have two quotes that she said a number of things around. She said, I'm so used to men being mean to me. And she also said, I was struggling with feeling lovable. I was struggling with feeling lovable. And, that might be at the typical end of the range where for people, especially when they're dating and they're trying to find their person and they are having a hard time, those statements can be said rationally or exaggeratedly a little bit. Or does that point to some traumas that she's been through that are still with her? And maybe she's recovering from them even if she does have those traumas. But those kinds of traumas, if they exist, can cause complications, defenses in a relationship that, we'll keep an eye on it, I suppose. And I guess I would say for a lot of the folks on this season, there seem to be some gender things going on that I don't know if I've seen in other seasons of Love is Blind. It could just be these people or what they decided to leave in. It could just be that I'm biased and reading into things. I don't know. But I'd be so curious to really drill down on a lot of the people on this season about their associations with gender and the adjectives that they use to describe people and the expectations and the freedoms and what is a good relationship and how does a quote-unquote man be a good husband, that kind of thing. Because I've heard some things that are really pigeonholing people, limiting people, and would harm themselves, you know? Like when Jimmy says he needs to be 100% leading all the time. That notion is very destructive for everyone, particularly the person he's with, but also himself. He doesn't have an equal partner. You want both people participating. That is the ideal. There can be flexibility in different moments, like, okay, in this moment I lead, in this moment you lead, but we are together. We meet each other. We both put effort in. Neither person is incompetent always. Sometimes either one of us is incompetent. We meet each other with equal power and equal love and equal agency and equal freedom and equal, like, we're together. You know, I'm not here to serve you all the time, and you're not here to serve me. I mean, that's what I always think. Because a lot of people will be like, "Wow, it sucks to be in the lower power position." To me, I guess the lower power position sucks more, but the higher position sucks as well. Having power is, especially in a situation like that, that would feel awful. It would feel distancing and scary and isolating and shaming. I'd feel guilty, you know, like, no, I don't. So that's me watching a perfectly good love scene and ruining it with my weird social construction talk.
I'm confused. So you're choosing someone who was questioning if they wanted another girl versus someone who was 100% sure that they wanted you.
Okay, so it's normal when you're being dumped to try to negotiate or fight for the relationship, and that's his way of doing it. Yeah, if he were not being dumped, he might say, well, I don't think it's necessarily the time to say this or fair to say this or rational. But, you know, he's being dumped. He's not exhibiting a lot of emotion, but you got to figure he's going through a lot. So, you know, he's saying that. And I hope that Chelsea just says something like, well, you know, maybe you're right, but this is the choice that I'm making and I'm terribly sorry. You know, you don't have to defend yourself and explain yourself because that's not really what's emotionally happening right now. I think he's just seeing, are you serious? Or he just needs to get this off his chest. You know, it's fine.
I mean, I get, like, if that's what makes you happy, then I'm happy for you, but I don't understand it.
I don't think you understand.
Yeah, so she didn't respond immediately, and so he just scaled back a little bit, which was good, I think.
I know you did, and I know that you would be such a good husband.
Did you already say yes to him?
Yeah.
Don't tell me that she changes her mind. Well, I mean, that's fine if she changes her mind, but that's a huge red flag to both guys. I think what's happening is that she just doesn't know what to say and she feels bad. I mean, I guess it would be normal that she would be unsure. Was she the one that said she... I think she was. Well, I forget. Let's get back to watching.
If I went first, would you have said yes to me?
So this could be the edit. It doesn't look like it, but and maybe it's true. it's not strange. It is not the ideal romantically, but it stands to reason that she was really into both, and she stated as much and acted as much, and she didn't know what to do. I thought when she said yes to Jimmy that she had, prior to the date even, decided, you know what, I'm at least 51% Jimmy. And then when he asked, she was like, I'm glad you asked because you were my first. That's what I figured happened. But now, I mean, it's interesting that he would even ask these questions. Maybe he knows her. So, yeah, it's not a good precedent, but it doesn't necessarily indicate, like, say she changes her mind and the two of them get married, which would be just a strange storyline for this show. That doesn't mean that she is this wishy-washy, flaky person necessarily. It's definitely a major tick in some sort of column, but sometimes people change their mind. And maybe he's helping her to, but you would think that she would be able to sift through that. Like she wouldn't say yes unless she knew he was the one. Well, the other issue, of course, is that I believe, and a lot of people also believe, and there's some research demonstrating this, I guess, to some extent, that some people are born or they develop into adulthood being oriented towards polyamory. And they are at their best and the most comfortable when they have at least the option, if not the actual configuration of their polycule, that has a number of attachments, perhaps at different intensity levels. And for those individuals, that's how they thrive. That's their happy place. Now, those people are the same as everyone, same as, monogamous people in that they have their ups and downs and their relationships ups and downs. It's not any different, but generally speaking, all things equal, that's what makes them feel the most comfortable. In the same way that for other people, like myself, it's monogamy that makes us more comfortable. We could do multiple relationships. It's not going to kill us, but especially in the long term, it's not really what makes us feel the best and the closest and the safest and the most comfortable. Anyway, so it's possible that a lot of people in our society and around the world, in my view, are oriented that way, but because society hasn't allowed them even to ask that question, they're trying to shove a square peg into a round hole, and they're trying to conform to monogamy, but they're not oriented that way, or at least they have the capacity to truly love intensely two different people. And to the general public, they look at that and say, that doesn't make any sense. But that's just because it doesn't make sense to a lot of people, and it didn't make sense to me when I was first exposed to it. It doesn't make sense to us because we've been just hammered into us this notion that the ideal is monogamy at the very least, but often it's high school sweethearts until you die. That's like my parents. They just had their 61st, or they're coming up on their 61st anniversary. That's the ideal. But, there's a lot of ways to live a happy life. There's a lot of ways to have a secure attachment. Anyway, although this is a pretty strong indication of that possibility, given that she is like truly just on the fence, right? Now, it also could be an indication that she's wishy-washy and doesn't know what she wants and is just waiting for someone to lead her, the way that Jimmy was saying is, the gender roles of, well, the girls are like, when I was growing up, we would go to a roller skating rink called Skate King in Bellevue. And it was always a big deal because our entire school would go. We're talking like fourth grade or something. And twice a night, during the whole session, there would be, and by the way, this is before rollerblades. It's all roller skates. And twice a night, there would be this snowball, is what they called it. And all the girls would line up on one wall on the skating rink, and the guys would skate around by themselves and sort of survey the selection and choose one of the girls to skate with and hold hands as you go around the skating rink. Just imagine, like, in the fourth grade, like, what? And, never mind the heteronormity of it, but, and they would always play like a romantic song. And I distinctly remember Peaches and Herb, reunited 'cause it feels so good. Anyway, for you, anyone, younger than 40 probably has no idea what I'm talking about. The odd thing was that only like a handful of boys would participate, including yours truly. And so you'd have, and all the girls would. It'd be like, I don't know, 150 girls on this wall, and 5 guys who have the pick of the litter, if you will. And I remember that moment pretty distinctly. And because of gender roles, that's all it is. It's not like the boys didn't like, and maybe slight maturity differences that are easily seen at that age. Could be that. I don't know. But my point is that we have this thing in our society on a number of levels that females, girls, women are supposed to wait, because that is the proper way. You're not supposed to be a slut. You're not supposed to be forward. You're supposed to let the man lead. The man leads when you dance. And we have it everywhere. It's less so as we move forward, which is good, but it's still very prevalent. And women can be socialized in that, particularly in some cultural pockets where there's no opposing forces. And so maybe that's what's going on for her, that there's another cultural mandate, gender-wise. Not only do you wait for a man to come to you and make yourself as enticing as possible, you don't have any agency, you're just your looks and your pleasantness. But if someone asks you, you say yes, regardless of who it is, because you don't have rights, so you must say yes. So I don't know, but I'm going to throw that into the mix, because if she's in this moment going, like if she said, when in her mind, if she's like, when Jimmy asked me to marry him, at that point, I was definitely a yes. And I was so happy. But now that I'm sitting here with Trevor, I'm like, I wish he asked me first, because I'm so confused. I don't know what to do here. But the way she presents, it's kind of like she just is a deer in headlights, which indicates she doesn't have access to what she wants. Like, where is her? Where is her want? Where is her agency? What does she want? Does she even entertain that question? I don't know.
It's not a good answer for his sake.
Yeah, not a good answer. He'll see this eventually. But, she has a lot of time until the show is aired. So if she does go with Jimmy, then, it won't be not hurtful to see this scene. But, it's not the end of the world. But, yeah, I'm legit curious what she is going to say here.
It's okay.
I just couldn't give you all of me. I'm so sorry.
Okay, well, maybe she was freezing because she just didn't know how to let him down. So maybe that was her silence. I don't know. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.